see you here today. Believe it or not, I'm even chilly. It was cool out there. My hands were cold in the car on the way here, and I thought, hey, going to Columbia, that's backwards. Something's wrong about that. But anyway, here we are. Are there any visitors? And I don't believe there's any media present this morning. If not, we'll just keep going. Is there any objection to approving the minutes from our last meeting as presented? Hearing none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. Approval of the Education Committee agenda today. Do I have a motion that we agree, we approve the agenda for the Profession Committee today?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the Education Professions Committee agenda for today.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Say aye. Are you in favor that we approve it? Yes, okay. We don't have anyone here to make any public comment today, so we'll get right down to Mary Hipp. Today, no, you're not. You're really second, but I know you're waiting. Today, the first thing is the approval, the recommendation for us to approve Winthrop University's add-on certification program.
Yes,
in
ma'am.
special
Thank you so
education.
much.
It's a multi-category, which is the direction we're going, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Jackie?
Thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much. So, as you said, Winthrop University has developed a certification program for current educators to get certified in the field of special education multi-categorical. This certification program is not intended for initial certification and will be marketed to educators who hold a current South Carolina teaching credential. We're now seeing multiple students with special education classifications in our classrooms, and the intent of this proposal is to increase the number of special education certified teachers in the state. The coursework included considers the triumphs and the challenges of the current undergraduate and graduate certification programs already at Winthrop University. In these degree programs, which are nationally recognized by the Council for Exceptional Children, candidates take courses that examine characteristics and methods for teaching students with disabilities within a structure that allows for comparison across special education classifications. If the program is approved, Winthrop University will be able to enroll candidates and recommend successful program completers for add-on certification in the field of special education multi-categorical.
I have just one question. When you say multi-categorical, are you saying all the categories of special ed?
Yes, ma'am. So they will be certified to teach any special education certification strand
Any.
that we have currently, yes.
Other than VI and
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes, other than visual impairments and hearing impairments.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
I see that in some instances as a school administrator issues, because they're not, when this is really like an add-on, and most of the time when we do an add-on, it's just the bare minimum. And for some of those categories, a bare minimum is not enough. Some of them, I mean, that.
Yeah, and candidates who don't hold special education certification fields can't add on a special education field without a approved program or required coursework and exam. So they're really building off their own programs that they already have in place, so they have a good sense of, you know, what their candidates, you know, might struggle with and that sort of thing. But yes, that's your point is well taken.
I know with our shortages and all, this is very helpful, I'm sure. School districts are,
So any certified teaching
except for those two, hearing
can
and-
go into, can participate in this? Any certified teaching area can add this on?
Yes, because this will be an approved program if it gets approved by you all today. And so that'll count as the approved program that they will be able to take to get that certification. As a part of that, this program will still have to undergo a specialized program review. It will be required to go through the scope of CAPE review or accreditation review. So there are a lot of checks and balances along the way as a part of this program. that aren't necessarily, if you're doing an add-on course by course kind of program. And that's why we have those guidelines in place for the add-on programs that are course by course, because then that way we know those candidates have to have a special education certified field to begin with. But this is really a program rather than a course by course in the way it's laid out, if that makes sense.
Your question?
I
Madam
think
Chair,
it's
may I
great that
make a
we're
comment?
adding the program. We need multi-cat, and that helps all the schools.
I'll add, Dr. Johnson, we have a major shortage in a lot of teacher areas, but special ed especially. We're also getting a lot of surprises on first-time students entering our school systems that have special needs. So that our numbers are on a major increase, and then you don't have enough certified teachers to put in those classrooms. Some cases, I can't speak for all districts, but some are probably getting on the edge of compliance issues because you have to put them somewhere, but you're not meeting ratios in all those classrooms because you don't have enough certified teachers. So it's a good idea.
I just see the different categories, like a continuum from very mildly disabled to very severely disabled, and such a difference in needs in that's the part that for us to actually be able to say that I can do it all. You know, I did 38 years of it, and I would never say that I could. That's hard to be able to have the skills from the very severe child to the very mild child.
Ms.
And because we're seeing
Madam-
those multiple classifications in
Yeah.
the classroom, it's really helpful for teachers to kind of have a little bit of all of that
Yeah.
under their belts.
If I may,
Sure.
thank you all, because when we look at the shortage of teachers in education, period, I see this as a need, and it will go a long way in terms of helping our children with disabilities.
One thing that our district does very well is they meet with new teachers and new special ed teachers monthly. It's the district level. They make sure they do, and they meet with veteran teachers as well. But I think districts are going to have to make sure that people are trained and make sure that people are successful so that children can be successful too. I think it's a good idea, great idea. It is.
And this is what we were seeing years ago, that, you had mostly multi-categorical. And then they went to, no, you can't, and that's when our shortage, that was when it was really hard to staff because you had to get that specific area, so we're going back with that, which is very helpful to our schools.
Jackie, did I notice in the write-up that from Winthrop that the candidate would have to take a practicum course?
As a part of, yes, so that's still a part of their program.
So for a teacher that's employed and wants to add on the certificate, how is that done?
Oftentimes it's done within their same school. We have quite a few add-ons that include some sort of a practicum work. And usually the districts are really amenable to working
Flexible.
with the candidates for those, for the educators for that.
And I know there's an absolute great need for this, and because there's such a shortage of quality special ed teachers out there. But I noticed the courses, I think there are 8 that they have to take, or 7. A lot of those are the characteristics, the general courses. So I think back to
That's
Jackie Lynn's point, there's got to be some support in there because the children coming with disabilities can be so significant that just a course is not going to help. They're going to need the networking and the professional development from their district and from their school, I think, to be successful.
Yeah. Are there any other questions or comments? If not, do we have someone that's ready to make a motion for us to approve this?
I'll make a motion to approve the Winthrop University add-on certification program in special education multi-category.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Who was that? Warren.
Cliff.
It has been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Anyone opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, we didn't mean to give you a hard time. Now we're going to hear from Mary Hip. She's asking for approval of a non-teaching occupational experience credit guidelines.
Yes. So, good morning, everyone. As you know, it was a very busy legislative session in regards to statutes and bills related to teachers, things that will benefit teachers. So these guidelines, the non-teaching occupational experience credit guidelines, I know it's a mouthful, are designed to supplement Act 29 of 2526. This statute will allow educators to receive experience credit for non-teaching occupational experience that is directly related to their certification field. So the intent here is to benefit teachers, especially I think we'll see career changers and our CT instructors particularly, who benefit because this will allow them to advance on the salary schedule based on experience they have directly related to their certification field. So let's say you have a career changer who becomes certified in chemistry, and that individual has a background working as a chemist in a lab. Right now, none of that occupational experience that helps prepare that teacher for classroom practice, that knowledge of subject, none of that experience counts on the salary schedule. This bill or the statute will allow those individuals to receive experience credit for that non-teaching occupational experience. You'll see in the statute it is a 1-to-2 ratio. So the individual will be able to receive 1 year of experience credit for every 2 years of full-time non-teaching occupational experience. So the guidelines that we're bringing for you today to make some or define a couple of the key terms that we're going to have to work with educators as we review documentation. Our office has developed forms, procedures. We already have the guidance documents. My office has standard operating procedures or SOPs for nearly every kind of request or case we process. So we've already developed those SOPs for our staff to use, and we have changes to the certification system that will be in place this Friday. So we've got a number of things related to implementation of this act that are underway, and we do anticipate the form and the system changes in SE Educator to be ready to go Friday this week. As far as the guidelines themselves, you'll see in the document the first section presents the act itself. So you've got Act 29, its full text. We go into the purpose, the two key definitions, non-teaching occupational experience, and I think the key here is directly related to the certification field, and that is going to be one of the dimensions that the educator and the employer have to demonstrate in submitting documentation to us. We have defined full-time employment as 35 hours per week. That is consistent with a teacher's full-time employment. We define that as 35 hours per week as well. As far as eligibility to add, individuals who have an academic certificate. So I'm an English teacher by trade. That is based on my preparation program and college degree. So any non-teaching occupational experience that would be eligible here would have to be earned after conferral of a bachelor's degree. That's consistent with how we issue experience credit now. For our CTE work-based teachers who qualify for certification based on that trade and industry experience, typically after a high school degree or a GED, sometimes an associate's degree, they will be their experience is eligible after conferral of at least a high school diploma or the equivalent. So those two things are consistent with how we process things today. We list documentation requirements. Obviously, there's a form for everything. So there is a verification form that the educator and employer will have to complete. In addition to that, the educator is going to have to submit a description, a position description or job description from the employer. Individuals who were self-employed and want to use self-employment, they will need some kind of third-party verification of that experience, whether it's an accountant, a bookkeeper, an attorney that worked with them in that business capacity. So we've got the documentation listed there. The calculation of experience credit in this instance will be a little different than what we do for educator experience typically. So that calculation is based on a 190-day school year. Here, because of the way the law is written, the calculation will be based on 24 months or 2 years of non-teaching occupational experience. Individuals who are applying for the first time obviously can submit this documentation as part of that application. Educators who are currently certified can now submit this, or once this goes live on Friday, they will be able to submit documentation to us to add additional years of experience credit. The way the law is written says they would be entitled to that additional experience for the next school year. I think we will see some districts that go ahead and make the adjustments this year. What questions can I answer for you?
So a person could be seeking certification through an alternative route.
Yes.
And so, just trying to get my head around how this is going to work.
So let's take someone who is seeking certification through an alternative route
Right.
in business and marketing education. They have a degree in business administration. They have worked in business and industry for a number of years, and it's that experience and that industry that really gives them that depth of content knowledge that they're going to use in the classroom with students. So they would be entitled to 1 year of experience credit for the purpose of salary for every 2 years of non-teaching occupational experience. Again, it has to be directly related to that certification subject area.
So that would happen immediately after employment?
Yes.
Which to me, when I read this one, it's different from the first thing that we approved, is to me, I think that's going to be an incentive.
Yes.
That's for people to come into the
For a
teaching
number,
field.
every state establishes different criteria and rules and regulations around certification. We see a number of applicants in South Carolina, especially from North Carolina, who are already able to get some teaching experience or experience credit for their work experience prior to becoming an educator. The challenge for some of those folks coming from North Carolina to South Carolina is that they don't get those years here. And it's been a real challenge for some of our school districts, especially the ones kind of on the border, where you have folks that retire in North Carolina and want to come to South Carolina to teach, and they're not making the same salary.
Mary, you said directly related is the
Yes.
important words. Do you foresee that getting gray?
Yes.
Because
So
I think our attorneys would
we
argue they have expertise.
We have a committee that meets weekly in our office, our review committee. Many of the cases that they review are even related now to educator experience credit. I think they've got a skill set in evaluation. We will see, I think, as we move through this process, are there additional requirements that we need to add to these guidelines that better clarify anything? So I do anticipate that will be part of our review over the next few months, and if we need to bring these back to you, we'll do that.
Mary, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway. Did the legislature, I know it's mandated, did they ask how this was going to impact your office and whether you had enough to be able to handle this?
We are always asked to provide an estimate, a fiscal impact statement. Leave
Gotcha.
it there.
Comment. I appreciate that it's a team deciding this and not just a person or two.
So, and the way our analysts have been trained is, you know, an individual analyst is going to review the documentation that's submitted for an educator. If there is any question, there's a chain within the office. They have most folks in the office have a mentor, or they have a direct contact, a senior analyst that they go to, and then again, everything can get kicked to that review committee. And I think as we implement that, we will see that group meeting, perhaps on a more frequent basis, just to attend to these questions. So,
And it's great that you're making it retroactive for those others that can do this.
yes, yeah, no, their
But at
pay
least
will not be
going back with the
retroactive.
pay,
Yes.
because you can't do that to the school budget, but
Correct.
going forward,
Experience.
they can do that with their experience. So that part's good.
Yes. And that provision's in the law as well.
Dr. Johnson, kind of my question, I think your answer clarified. So a present CTE instructor,
Mm-hmm.
and let me say, some districts give prior field work.
They do.
and some do not. They can apply for this.
Yes,
The panel will make the decision on
Yes.
what their true credit looks like. And I think you might have said the district will have the option to implement now or even the next fiscal budget.
so the way the law is written, if an educator who is currently certified applies for experience credit under the provisions of this statute, and let's say that we issue those in January this year, the way the law is written, it says the educator is entitled to that additional compensation the next school year. So that would be obviously the 26-27 school year. I do think we will see some districts that go ahead and make a decision to adjust that pay this year.
I think that's a good add-on though, because some districts who did not give that field experience now, and in January, and all of a sudden you're going from not giving to giving to a number
Right.
of CTA people, you're gonna need that next year to work that into your budget.
Right.
That's why I wanted to.
And the CTE educators, you know, that experience credit, it's pretty distinct. You know, if you've got someone who's certified in automotive technology, we're going to be able to clearly see what that background was, that educator or that work experience was that relates to that. I do think it may be some of our career changers, that it's a little more challenging to demonstrate that than our CTE educators.
Have any other states done anything similar?
North Carolina does something similar to this.
Because I think it's a great idea, but you're probably going to go through some growing pains
Oh.
with this.
Absolutely.
And have to make some adjustments.
So,
Yeah, I see some interesting conversations with some people starting at 3 years' experience and other people starting because they're coming straight from college and into, you know, that disparity there. I can see some interesting ways that's explained. I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yes.
It makes sense to me, but it's not my pocketbook we're talking about, you know, that other people might see this differently. Any other questions or comments? Good, bad, anything? No? No? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the approval of non-teaching occupational experience credit guidelines?
Madam Chair, I make the motion for the approval of the non-teaching occupational experience guidelines.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Madam Chair, I second the motion.
We have the motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hill.
all right, Dr. Mathis, did I keep it in the lines?
You 5 minutes to the good.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah. I took up for you, Mary. I took up for you.
Okay, with consent agenda, is there a motion to place the two items that we have discussed today, 1 and 2, on the consent agenda? There's a motion. Is there a second? There has been a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any other business? If not, do I have a motion that we adjourn? We adjourn. And a second. Yes, somebody down there does. And
Left
we have
ear.
a second.
I
All
heard
those
it.
in favor? Thank you.